Today is the 17th of February and we've got a storm called Storm Eunice, which is sweeping across the south of Britain. We don't usually get bad storms in England, but this is supposed to be bad when winds are about 60 miles an hour. I remember in 1987 when we had the great storm, we had winds of 150 miles an hour, and that brought all our greenhouses down, collapsing in a heap. But this is rather mild. For those of you who live in the United States where you get twisters, this is nothing. This is just a gentle breeze. I thought I'd just record the sound. It's quite fascinating to hear. It's like the roar of a jet engine. Saturday the 19th of February, and we had a tremendous storm yesterday when everything was blown apart. As you can see, some of my fencing has come down, but the trees just got blown off and we put them back. Otherwise, not too damage has been done. The point of this video really is to show you that even it is in early February. Look at this, this is a larch and it's already beginning to leaf. So this is very early, but what also concerns me very much is the way the maples are starting to move. When we say they're beginning to move, I mean they're beginning to show signs of leaf. And I've taken a few in already because I'm going to work on them this evening. And I may show you some of the work that I'm going to do. If you observe these maples, you look at how these little buds are beginning to show. You can see the buds already beginning to burst open. So if we go around all the maples, you will see that when they are showing signs of growth like this, that is the time we start pruning. So I'm going to take some of these in. I've already taken about half a dozen. I'm going to work on every single one of them. There are about 50 or 60 maples here. So they all have to be pruned, and I did some structural pruning last year, but not nearly enough. I've got to get all the branches in the right place, get rid of the thick branches which shouldn't be in the position they are, and there are some major decisions on styling to be made. So I hope I can share some of those exercises with you. So let me just go back into the other greenhouse. So this one is very advanced. Look at it, the leaves are almost out and it's been in the open, completely in the open. It's not in a greenhouse. And despite the frost that we've had, some of these maples are beginning to leaf. Of course, every tree is different. Although there are maples everywhere, some are more advanced than others. I don't know why, they're all in the same position, but I suppose like human beings, everyone behaves differently. So I'm now going to go into the back greenhouse and I will show you the state of some of these maples because they are all budding in the same way. And after I've pruned, you will see that they will start bleeding. That means bleeding meaning not blood, but they lose the sap. The sap flows like water and it can be quite scary at this time of the year. So let's do each of these in turn. So I'm here now doing some more of the maples. So I'm refining the maples. You can see they've just been allowed to grow and there are a lot of coarse branches and branches in the wrong place. So this maple has got a lovely curly trunk, but some vigorous branches are growing in the wrong place. That very vigorous one is going to cause inverse taper here. So this one is going to have to go. I'm holding the camera with one hand and cutting the branch with the other hand. I don't know how successful this is. Always a first time for everything. There you go. So I've cut that off. So I got rid of that thick branch. I'm going to keep all thin branches. And if we look at the top, it is a complete jumble and a mess. So that one comes off for a start. The curly shape is very nice, but again, we've got some very thick, ugly branches, which is going to spoil the tree. So this thick one is going to have to go, this thick one. I think easier to cut it with the secateurs and then deal with it with the branch cutter. So that's going. And then we got to look at the apex. And there's another thick branch. There's so many thick branches. They're all in the wrong place. That's an ugly branch, too thick. You don't want branches which are too thick, and you don't want a combination of thick and thin branches. So you took all the trouble to grow that, but we have to get rid of it if we want a perfect tree. And I have to always do the juggling act where I have to bear in mind what customers want. It's not what I want, it's what customers want. So within reason, I will style the tree, but I will also bear in mind that the customers also like a very bushy looking tree. Now this tree, this branch is coming out from that side. That shouldn't be there. I know it shouldn't be there. My conscience won't let me leave it there. So that's coming out. So I'm almost going back to basics, as it were. But at least my conscience will be clear. So let me work on it. I will show you again. So let me show you what I've done with this maple. This maple, I have taken one thick branch off over there. Throw that away. Another thick one there. And another one there. So these three branches have been taken off because they were not in keeping with the rest of the branches. There is one more which I really should take off. It's this one here. This is too thick. I should really take it off there. But remember what I said about keeping my customers happy. I know that customers will want a bushy tree. So if I'm wanting to keep a bushy tree, I will probably have to keep that one there and cut it at a later stage. It's a difficult choice. I know that in conscience I should take that off, but I'll probably keep it because it fills the gap here for the time being, and if I cut it off it may become too bare, so it might be difficult to sell, but I know that it has to be taken off. At least it's better than what it was before. So this is how I trim this maple, getting rid of three very, very thick branches, and the branches were taken off from the bottom there, from there, and from there. So those are the three spots I took those thick branches off. So this is how you refine maples. You take the disproportionately large branches and keep branches which are all the same size as far as possible. So that was a long-winded exercise on just one maple. Let's look at another maple. Now this one again has got a mixture of thin and thick branches, and as I said before, if you leave the thick branches around, it will cause inverse taper. So already I can see that there's a conglomeration of branches there, and that should be taken out. So all that bunch of branches should come out. So in every case, we are more or less going back to the basic shape. What a shame, you know, you take all the trouble to grow it and then you got to take it back to the original shape. But you can't let rogue branches grow for fear of spoiling the shape of the tree. Again, I'm having to be a bit cautious, judicious, I mean. There were two branches welded together over there. Again, take the tips out. At least I got rid of the worst of the problems. So during the year I will keep an eye on it and make sure that, again, we don't get any rogue branches growing. So that's that one done. Now another example here. So it's got a lovely curly trunk, but again the faulty branches are the thick ones. This one there is too thick, and there's one at the back there which is too thick. If you turn it at the back, you will see it's completely out of proportion with the rest of the tree. So that should come out, this should come out. And this is all for the future welfare of the tree. So that comes out, and this comes out. And then I'm going to clean it with a branch cutter. I'm very fond of using the Wen cutter. The Wen cutter is this half round cutter. It's called a hybrid cutter. It's a mixture of the Wen and the flat branch cutter. And at the top you see there's a funny thing going on there. There's one branch at the back getting thick. So again, we don't want too many thick branches. So that thick one over there, I'm going to get rid of over there. Get that rid of. So we got a single apex growing up. And that one also is looking very thick. Get that out. So keeping all similar thickness branches. Here there are 4 branches coming from the same point, and if I don't watch it, I can get inverse taper, so you've got to keep a close eye on that as well. There are too many branches there. So there are so many things to watch when you're developing a tree. Maybe I should remove this one, otherwise I get inverse taper there. There are 4 branches coming out from there, so take this out. So that's how I develop that one.